What's up, guys? Vince Reddy here, and yeah, welcome to my review for Helluva Boss uh, episode. Something I completely forgot. I'm gonna be honest. Listen, if you ever think that I remember any episodes, Helluva Boss or anything, I don't know. I haven't been focusing on my channel or making content, at least with webtoons, when it comes down to Let's Reads, like which is my main content, doing like reading read throughs. Basically it's like gaming walkthroughs but reading, and then reading like web comics. uh it's easy because hey, there's a webtoon and pretty much I can just say, well, I don't know what's going on, but we're about to read the rest of this webtoon to see if I do remember. And basically, that's what's happening here. The usual routine of just me wondering and just figuring out, like, okay, whoa, what just happened? So, yeah, hopefully that makes sense, knowing that it doesn't. But hey, I hope it does, knowing that I, you know what? I do remember. Because here's the thing, I watched this episode like last weekend when I was at a hotel. And it's funny because for those that didn't know, of course you didn't know, but when I watched Has Been Hotel, which was years ago, I watched it in a hotel. And the literally almost all day when I was spending my time in this hotel in Las Vegas, like I just keep thinking of that animation, that episode. I keep thinking about Has Been Hotel, and my infused fandom just sort of elevates on me, which is interesting because I'm, back in Nevada because that's where I took a vacation, back in Nevada, and actually saw, not in Las Vegas. I went to Lake Tahoe and I stayed there and pretty much saw this episode. And it just kind of reminds me of watching, the, and it also was late at night as well. So literally the whole time when I was like watching this episode, it reminded me years ago when I watched Has Been Hotel in that nice hotel. And yeah, I guess the memories just snuck on back. That was a pretty good experience I had. And even though that was a long time ago, man, it just feels like there's certain things that just never change. So, I guess I'm back to my roots. But other than that, of course, moving on to the episode, moving on to the, what's going on in Hell of a Boss, which, what, I do love, Hell of a Boss and Has Been. It's just that it could have been in a worse time, knowing that I'm focusing a lot of like, work. Because for those that don't know, I pretty much am like, I don't know if this is a big update or anything like that, but I'm not making any money here on YouTube, which isn't a surprise to say if you look at the view rate. And I have to find other ways to make money because if I don't, I'll be homeless. So that's kind of like where I'm at in life. So that's why it's not because I don't care about Hell of a Boss. I don't care about anything. I don't care about like I think I purchased a couple of video games that I am going to be playing via stream on YouTube soon. I don't care about that either. I don't care about a lot of things. All I care about is like marketing and pretty much e-commerce. I just been focusing on making money after, like, that's all I can think about. And also my trip, off country as well. Like I'm gonna be out of the country to actually go abroad. I can't say where. It's gonna be a surprise, and it's only in a few weeks. So there's a lot of things that and I get it. There's people that can talk about certain things, talk about topics, when they're like super busy, like they have a kid or something, they can still review the anime or review a movie or whatever it is. But for me, I just can't. Literally, this tells you that because it's only until like I was supposed to review this when I was at the hotel, which I couldn't. Also, the internet was crap, so there was no way for me to upload it that soon. But also, I don't want the attention at all when it comes down to analyzing, my movie or animation or review skills should never ever be in public. It should be only with me and my audience. But the thing is that, each of these shows or each of these topics or whatever it is I might be talking about could be popping on YouTube one way or another. And I couldn't control that. And you know what? That's okay. Because most of all, that's kind of like what I've been doing for years. Just nonsense content, I guess. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to talk about Helluva Boss. I'm supposed to talk about the Fizzaroli episode. And one thing to say about this particular episode is, it's good. It is bringing in and bridging the gap between Blitz. Blitz was gonna kill me. Blitz and, his brother's relationship, a sense of brotherhood. Even though these two felt like sisters more than brothers itself, which I kind of appreciate that because it's relatable to me, knowing that it's like two non-straight characters, and I'm not straight, so yeah, I heavily relate. But also another thing is that it really doesn't beautify a lot when it comes to it. And if you know me, I kind of like prefer anything attractive itself. But for this one, the thing is that Fizzaroli's voice just sort of like clouds my sense for Fizzaroli. The thing is that the voice is a turnoff, to be honest. And I try not to have it bother me more and more as the thing is that I can't listen. I love One Piece. I just finished One Piece, and like for the 30th time, just binge watching One Piece again and again on Netflix. Every time I hear Fizzaroli, and every time I look at him, I'm like, Buggy? It's just that I put the Buggy, for the Buggy Pirates, the clown pirate, next to Fizzaroli, and I'm just like, oh my god, I swear this is where the inspiration is from. Viv Cipop, the creator of this, has to be a fan of One Piece, knowing that she probably created this character. I don't know. That's just in theory. That's in my head. But when I saw this episode, I'm just like, I just can't stop thinking about One Piece. I just been on a One Piece binge. I don't know if, and the thing is, again, when it comes to review stuff, I could have reviewed One Piece or something like that, which I did. I reviewed the Netflix shows, but I've been watching a whole bunch of stuff on One Piece. Like the Blue Sea episodes, like the Fisherman episodes, Gold, Heart of Gold, and all that. But this is not about One Piece. This is about Helluva Boss. I'm sorry, I'm getting off track in so many ways. The thing is that the voice doesn't do much for me, but I do appreciate that, even though this is like in hell, if that makes sense. Like it's in a place where it's not really the most prettiest, but they made it pretty. I don't know what it is with Viv making hell pretty. I'm a Christian. I don't. Hell is not pretty at all. Should never be. Should never be glorified. But you know what? This is animation, and we don't need to take that seriously. Knowing that this is but even though this is sort of like an animation that is sort of going to a serious route between who Blitz is, seeing the relationship, seeing a dysfunctional family of especially with his sister and also his brother, and also what happened, that flashback and whatever, like really shows a lot of layers behind Blitz as a character, more so than ever. And people are criticizing of seeing that Asmodeus and also Fizzaroli's relationship compared to Stolas and Blitz. That Stolas and Blitz could have been Asmodeus's or Fizzaroli's relationship in many ways. And yeah, I could have wished that it went to that route as well. But I bet that it's leading up to something. And even though this was like in the, like Stolas and Blitz's relationship was still, especially in the early episodes, especially in the pilot episode, was still developing. It still has to actually go through that route. It's kind of like, two individuals that are best friends, that actually showed up in one episode is showing the other friend that is actually in another country that has to survive whatever that country throws. And then you see the other friend, like in a certain other country that is like at least a bit better and more, at least his life is a bit easier. It's kind of like those ways, if that makes sense. I'm trying to give an analogy, but I can't. I just realized I just gave an analogy, and I think I promised, okay, I gotta stop with these analogies. But I don't know how best to really say it. It's just that I'm comparing them, and it feels like, I'm just looking at Asmodeus and Fizzaroli. I'm like, damn, the relationship is deep, huh? That must be It must be heavily different. I feel for Asmodeus knowing that whatever worry that he's going through, he's definitely worried for like Fizzaroli of just what happened to him, because especially being caught in the mafia. In this episode itself, I do appreciate how Italian it gets. Like there's certain like verbs and words that Fizzaroli says, Brigado, or I don't know, Giuseppe or something like that. And I don't like the song. I don't like the song that Fizzaroli was singing there. And especially Fizzaroli didn't like it either when he was singing it. And I did not expect a musical, but I'm like, why? It could have been any other performance other than a musical, but instead it has to go into a song that it's just not catchy to me. But Viv just had to actually make a separate video to actually make a song and just to collect the revenue. But I'm like, okay, so this itself, like if you take away like his voice or Fizzaroli's song, and maybe there is a chance that I might be saying that I don't like Fizzaroli in general, but there is some aspects that I like about him, and I can understand why. But also, for the most part, it's like if you take away from him, I feel like the episode would be better. I don't know. As I get, again, like I never put my reviews on the spotlight at all. But these are just my opinions. But just having that, bridging the gap between Blitz and also his brother Fizzaroli, just knowing that they're like together, it actually shows a bit of good light to actually what's going, through the episode as well. And I feel like this whole episode is just basically about Fizzaroli and Blitz coming together, and also the two relationships between Asmodeus and Fizzaroli, and also as well, of course, with Stolas and Blitz, and just showing how much they care about each other still, and stuff like that. And I guess that's all I got for really, like the episode wasn't bad, that's for sure. I do appreciate that we're seeing this. Like I still remember this other episode between these two old men that are twisties, and I did not like that episode because I'm just like, like these guys are not hot. What's going on? Okay, that's my selfish review of that particular one. I think I did a main review of it, or maybe maybe I just didn't care. But I remember talking about that other episode of Helluva Boss with these two oldies, these old people these two old guys that are like sort of like either villains or superheroes or something like that. I forgot. I tried to forget it, and I just didn't like it. But I wouldn't actually say I wouldn't say that's better than this particular episode with Fizzaroli, because it's been anticipated that we're actually getting something surrounding Fizzaroli. I do like Asmodeus. I like how general and how successful he is, I guess. How much he's just like a big mama in these scenes most of the time. But yeah, other than that, that's the best I can talk about. All I can remember is that I just swore that hotel that I stayed at was haunted. I don't know. There could be some sayings in there. I remember hearing certain voices and here and there, and I'm just like, what? What was that noise? Like, I kid you not, I heard a beam. And pretty much it was like, it was 3 a.m. and I was like, what just happened? And I just went back to sleep, just randomly. It was so weird. Now thinking about it, but man, thank goodness I'm out there. It was not a bad hotel, actually. But other than that, yeah, this is my review. It's not the best. What do you want from me, okay? I'm over here still thinking about how am I going to make a lot of money or something like that. And with these remote jobs and the digital marketing space, I'm at that point, And I feel like I might have to take a break. Take a break from YouTube at some point to actually, because I'm so tired of not having money. Like there's certain times where I just don't feel like I feel like I, really, I just wish I had a lot of money. But it has got to me where I gotta, you know what? I'm sorry for actually uploading less and less, but there's a reason why. It's because I need the freaking money. Anyways, one love and a peace.